welcome to Bikini Design Club once more. Today I'm gonna be sewing a new pattern that we have just launched. It's our swimsuit pattern, Moon. I hope you like it. This is actually very interesting. I decided to use this fabric that I had here. I know it's very shiny, but I really love it, and I think it will be interesting seeing a swimsuit made with this. So I'm going to use this as my outer fabric today, and since this is an unreversible pattern, I have here my lining in black. So I have already cutted my pieces. This pattern, we have straps, 2 of them. We have our back, 2 of them, because we have a center back seam for the back. We then have a bow in the front, so you will see it will be amazing. We will have a huge bow in the front, and we have to cut. I actually cut it 4 of these because I want to, when you tie the bow, you will see both sides of the fabric. So I cut it 2 for one side and then 2 again for the other. And then we have here the front, which in my case, what I did is I used, the pattern is meant for you to cut. I'm gonna show you the front, so it's not to use as a fold line, because in this pattern we want a center seam visible here, and you will see, because I will make a cover stitch here, so this was intentional. But if you prefer to have the same pattern without the center seam, you can remove the seam allowance and use this as a fold line. That's actually what I did for my lining. So for my lining, instead of cutting 2 pieces and then sew them, because it's my lining and it doesn't make sense for me to have a seam on my lining, I removed the seam allowance from this area and I cut it directly the lining. So let's start by preparing our fabric. You can see some pins here because I had to make some amendments on my fabric. I didn't have enough fabric, so I had to improvise, but never mind this, I will do this, and you of course will not have to make amendments to your own pattern. So one of the things we can start doing for now is this is my back, as I told you, with 2 pieces, and if we match right sides facing together, we can start by pinning the center back seam, and we can do the same for the lining. We can also go ahead and prepare our straps. As I told you, I've cut it 4. So I'm going to show you how to do in one of them, and then you know how to do the other. Right sides facing together of our strap. Pin the top part and the bottom from the beginning until the end of your strap. And the only area you are not going to pin is this one. This is going to be the connection with your back piece, so on the side center seam, so you will see. So this is the only area you do not sew. The rest we can pin from here until the end here, and the same down here. The pattern actually has this piece a little bit longer than mine, than what you see here in the video. Just because, as I told you, I didn't have enough fabric, so I had to shorten the length of this strap. But I believe the original pattern, which I made with the longer strap, is more beautiful, and you will see why once the swimsuit is ready. You will see that a nice front strap is better, a little bit bigger than what I did here in this case. So we now can go ahead, pin the other one, sew this with the overlock, applying elastic on one of the sides, and sew the center back seams without elastic, overlock both fabrics. So now I'm going to do the strap, applying elastic as I told you on both sides, and not sewing this side. We now have our two straps here that we can reverse to the right side, and we have our two back pieces now, lining and main piece, and we can now go ahead and do our center seam for the front of our swimsuit. As I told you, it's optional. You can remove the seam allowance and make this one piece instead of two, but I really wanted to try and have a center back seam on the front with a cover stitch, and that's why I cut it, but I already explained that. I'm just repeating myself, so I will then reverse this. So I'm gonna place right sides facing together, aligning the front here. I'm going to pin, and I'm going to the overlock, and without elastic I am just going to sew them, and then I'm going to do a cover stitch on my center front. So I will show you why and the effect that I want to have with this. But since I'm going to the machine, I can also do some stuff and go ahead and do some other stuff. So my front of my lining with my back, right sides facing together, like so. I am going to pin the crotch area and the sides. One thing before we do that, and this is what's interesting about this pattern, is that we are going to align with our waistline. So we are going to align the waistline on both patterns, like so. And as you can see, I'm gonna do it on this side so you can see. So I aligned here on the waistline, and you can see that I have more fabric for the back here than my front, and this is on purpose. This is not a mistake, okay? So you just pin on both sides and also on the crotch area. We can also go ahead and pin the crotch as I told you. So I also pin my straps, my sides, my crotch area. I just left these two for now. The straps, since they are crossed, you'll see that the angle will then fit here on the side. So the angle is down here. Okay, so I now have my lining ready. I already did the front. I already sewed the front. I'm still deciding if I want to do the top stitch or not. I will decide this in a little bit. But we can, after I decide this, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to align my waist area here of both patterns, and I'm going to pin just like we did on the lining. Okay, you can see much easier here on this fabric than on the black one, so I'm just going to repeat on video so you can see. This is bigger than the front, and this is intentional. Okay, actually we have to add something here, our straps. So make sure you have them on the correct position. I'm gonna check against the pattern which is the correct position, and I'm also going to check which one is my right and my left, with taking into consideration the elastic sticking out, so I can already see which is my main. So this is for this side, like so, and this is for this side. I'm still going to check the position of the strap, but yeah, it's like so. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you on one side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this strap from the lower part of my hip, from the back here. until my waistline, and I'm going to just scrunch this a little bit, and it is going to be tucked in between these two fabrics, the back and the front, and ends coming from the lower part of my hip until my waist. To make sure that this stays exactly where I want, I'm first going to my straight stitch machine, and very near the edge I'm going to make a stay stitch, probably a large stitch that I can pull the fabric afterwards and get the scrunchie that I was telling you, and then I'm going to insert it here. So I'm going to go ahead to my straight stitch machine, and I'm going to do a stitch here, leaving the threads in the end to be able to pull them, and so that we can scrunch this and then place it here, okay? And of course we can also go ahead and sew the lining that we had already pinned. So I have already made the stitch here and then pulled the thread a little bit so that I get this effect on both of them, and I already sewn on my overlock the lining. So I'm going to align the top here with the waist like so. I'm gonna pin this in place like so. And now I'm going to place my I'm just going to go until the end here, until the end of my front. Here. And now I'm going to place the back and replace the pin with the back, sandwiching the strap inside like so. And on the back, my strap is going to come all the way down until the end of my back. So the top tip of the back will be aligned here. I'm going to leave, no, just until the end here. Yeah, I was thinking if I should leave a little bit, but I will not leave it. I think I don't need it. Okay, so this is what we are going to do on both sides, and we can also go ahead and pin the straps just like I told you before. So right sides facing together like so, because this will be sewn here on the side. So this one is like so, and this one is like this. Pin the other strap on the sides, crotch, straps and sides. So I've just sewn my main piece. I use my zigzag here. I'm going to trim the excess fabric. And I also use my zigzag on my shoulders. But the rest I did with the overlock, the sides. So now if we have our main fabric on the right side, and we insert our lining with the wrong side facing the wrong side, so we insert the wrong side inside here. So wrong sides facing together. We can now align the lining and the main piece. I'm going to align just roughly the center here and under the arm. I'm just going to align roughly and then I'll be back. Since aligning the fabric, I'm aiming for preparing my fabric so then I can sew my elastic, and I want to do so on the lining side. I'm going to reverse the two fabrics together so that my lining is facing up. Like so. Because when we apply the elastic, we want to sew the elastic on the lining side so that we can then fold and do the cover stitch. So that's why I prefer pinning already with my lining facing up. Now very patiently just align the entire piece and pin. I'm gonna think about the straps, give me a moment. Yes, for the straps we should, at this point, we have them not attached yet, but we will attach them now. So just cross the straps of your main fabric and pin them here on the sides, right sides facing together. I'm just going to place one pin here and one pin here, and then we should do the crossing on the back for the lining, matching what we have just done. So on this side we want our fabric to come here, like so. Just going to put a pin here, okay, and another one here. And this one we want the strap to go underneath this one, so align the strap because you want it to match your fabric, and you now have both straps on the right side, on the correct position. Okay, so I'm just going to pin here just roughly so that they are not crossed, and we can now prepare them and sew them to the piece, to the correspondent piece. So our main fabric here and our lining, since we want the seam to not be visible, we just twist this here and place right sides facing together, and we also pin and sew. Do this for both sides of the straps, and then we are ready to move on. Just going over my straight stitch machine, and I'm going to do a zigzag on the 4 places to connect the back straps, and then I'll be back to pin the entire swimsuit just like I told you. So my straps are sewn in place, and now we just need to connect the lining with the main fabric. So what we are going to do is align the entire piece, pin the entire piece with your lining sides facing up, and then just go to the overlock and apply your elastic on top here, and then we still need to do the cover stitch once we do that all around. So pin, I'm gonna do first the leg holes, then the rest bit by bit, and sew, and then come back and pin again. So just do as you prefer. I prefer to do this slowly. When you reach the back here, where you have a small bit of the back bigger than the front, no problem, just keep on pinning just like you normally would, combining fabrics together just like a normal swimsuit. And then I'm already in the front here. and do it, because it's not that difficult. My fabric is very hard to work, this lining, but as I already tried on my Myth swimsuit the other day, once my swimsuit is ready, I can tell you that this is the most amazing lining ever. But sewing is difficult, but after it's done, it's amazing on your skin. Okay, now I'm going to do the other leg hole, and I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew both leg holes. I think probably in this area where we have the connection of the front with the back, what I will do is I will probably go to my straight stitch machine and use a zigzag stitch in this area. And this is just because I control much better my straight stitch machine than my overlock for such small areas. So I'm going to do this area here on the side seam on my regular sewing machine instead of my overlock, just because it's easier for me. So our leg holes are ready. We just need to do the same that we have just done for our back and for our straps and our neckline, our front. So just pin again fabrics together like so. Pin all around where you still haven't done, and go to your sewing machine, apply the elastic like we did here, and then we will be back to show you how to do the cover stitch. So let's do the cover stitch to finish our swimsuit. I'm gonna start here. We can start anywhere, but okay, just fold the fabric. You will feel where you should do the fold. It's the fold with your elastic width. So just fold, insert it underneath your needles, and that's it. We are ready. We are ready. Well, this actually took me a lot of time to do the cover stitch, so I didn't get everything on tape. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Here is the final result, and you can see how the fabric is once it's on your skin. I really like the results. Maybe I should have used a different fabric for the bow to make a contrast. I don't know. You can make your own choices. So don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, and see you guys soon. Thank you.